Normally I try to give like a didactic lecture. Today's gonna be a little different. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So today what I'm gonna tell you about is, I wanna share a personal story with you. A lot of people ask me how I became a holistic dentist, and I'm gonna share you the story. Sorry, a little out of breath, I just ran up and down a little bit. So, like many of you that are sitting here today, you probably came to the world of personal health because you had either a horrible health experience or you've watched friends and family have a horrible health experience, and either you want to get better or you want to help your friends get better, or you don't want to become like your friends or family, and you've watched conventional medicine fail them or fail you, and you've decided to take your health into your own hands. And if you are those people that are sitting here, which I'm pretty sure you are, because you know, on a Sunday when it's kind of still nice out, you're sitting in here, not out there. So obviously you're interested in your own health. And I actually applaud you, because I really think it's time that we became our own healthcare advocates and not be a sheep like me over here and listening to the conventional wisdom, because the conventional wisdom has a lot to be desired for. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, thank you. So a few years ago, I became very ill. I didn't know what was going on with me. I went to a lot of doctors, and the best they could come up with is that I was crazy. And so they offered me, for my many weird health conditions, they offered me antipsychotic, antidepressive, and anti-anxiety medication. But let's call a spade a spade. They were treating symptoms of something else. And I think the integrative doctors here would agree with me that conventional medicine chases the symptoms and ignores the causes for the most part. Wouldn't you agree? Right. Which is the mantra we've all been saying over the past long time. Short time after I was hospitalized, I actually got a little better, and I went to a dental conference, and I started talking to one of my colleagues who I see once a year at the specific dental conference, and he began telling me a story about himself, which sounded eerily similar to mine, except he had an answer of the cause of his illness. And he told me he was very sick because he had very high mercury levels, and his profession poisoned him. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. So I had myself tested, and I went to the Quicksilver. I used the Quicksilver scientific method, which is a mercury test, which checks your blood, hair, and urine. And it's probably, I would say, the most comprehensive mercury analysis I've ever seen. And if the other doctors here or people that know of a better test, I'm all ears. And you can see my mercury levels are through the roof. Now, according to my profession, this is perfectly fine. No worries. You see, I was a cosmetic dentist for a long time. When I came out of school, it was all the rage. And because I care about my patients and I wanted to help people, I was told that I will transform people's lives by cutting away half of their teeth and putting pieces of glass on them to create the optical delusion of a perfect smile. And I fell for it, and I did that for almost a decade, which I regret today, because there's a much better way, much more conservative way to treat teeth, make them look nice, without drilling half of them away. But that's another lecture, another talk. So I had a little epiphany, and I went through a very stringent 6-month detox program, and I cleared myself of mercury, and oh my goodness, I felt remarkably better. I took myself off these drugs, these anti-psychotic, whatever, antidepressant, I don't remember what I was taking, but I just quit cold turkey. I was feeling better, I felt like myself, and I woke up. Because I had a personal rock bottom moment. And I think a lot of you who have come to holistic health and wellness, you've probably been there too. You might have been hospitalized, or you've been frustrated. So as a cosmetic dentist, my job was to take all that metal and drill it out of people's mouths. And my profession told me that it's perfectly fine and safe and there's nothing to worry about. In fact, I'll never forget this. I'll never forget this because I repeated it for a decade. I was told first year dental school that if you drink a gallon of mercury, it'll pass right through you and you'll be fine. And I believed it because I was an impressionable young kid. Right? What do I know? I'm just sitting in the class amongst, another 40 students and listening to these, dentists with all this experience and doing the wrong thing. So I spent a decade removing this, and in the process, poisoning myself. So this is what typical mercury fillings look like. You could have small ones, medium ones, and large ones. This is inside of a carpule of mercury. Now they come in different sizes. There's 1 spill, 2 spill, 3 spill, and 5 spill. So my friends, I haven't placed a mercury filling since coming out of my residency, but my friends who still place it tell me that they usually place a 2 spill into a medium-sized filling and it goes up from there. Excuse me. So today I just want to, can you play the video? So this is what my profession told me doesn't happen. So this is a video by the International Academy of Oral Medicine and Toxicology, or the IAOT. Can you play the video? Okay, sorry. Well, when the video comes up, what you'll see is there's a phosphofluorescent screen which allows us to detect or see the mercury vapor that's emitted. Okay? Can you just kill the sound? Thank you. So basically you see the mercury vapor coming out of the tooth. Can you guys see it? So now if you rub it as if you grind your teeth or brush your teeth or have a dental hygienist or a dentist polish your mercury fillings, every time you swallow, which is about 2,000 times a day, and your teeth gnash together, you release wisps of mercury vapor, which gets ionized and then enters every cell in your body. And it's most attracted to fat. Oh wait, the brain and the spinal system. Oops. I'm glad that didn't break. That was scary. I'll tell you what's in this jar in a second. Well, you're probably guessing, aren't you? So basically, wow, my heart just skipped a beat. So you'll see by rubbing or stimulating the mercury in the filling, because what an amalgam means the metals are separate. An alloy means they're all combined. So in your fillings, they're made of 55% liquid mercury that is still liquid mercury. And as you know, liquids evaporate, and mercury evaporates below body temperature. That's why you see in room temperature it being emitted. And you'll see them soon stimulating it with a pocket knife. I don't know if they did that already, to try to kind of stimulate or to show what happens when you drill in a tooth and you get these gigantic clouds of mercury vapor. Now, perhaps a one-time event releases a small amount, but imagine what happens over decades of grinding on your teeth, of brushing your teeth. But what happens when you drill these out, giant plumes of mercury vapor are emitted. It is scary, and I spent 12 years sucking it in because I was a cosmetic dentist and all I did is remove these fillings basically for a living. I poisoned myself and I poisoned my staff and I poisoned my patients, and I feel awful about it. So you just saw the World Health Organization basically, mercury fillings are the highest source of mercury in our bodies, okay? Lead is a major toxin, and it's really bad for us and our children. But mercury is a lot more toxic than lead. If you ask a toxicologist, mercury is the most toxic, non-radioactive substance on Earth. And we're allowed to store it in our teeth. So in here is the equivalent of a full mouth of mercury. So let me ask you a question. Has anybody here ever had a mercury filling done? By a show of hands. Thank you. Keep your hands up. How many had their mercury fillings removed? Okay. More hands went up. Those again should have gone down. And how many have had it removed safely? Keep your hands up. So, good question. Guess what today is all about? You're going to learn how to do it safe. So, the amount of mercury that's released, yes. How about, hang on, sorry. How about I'm going to have a whole question and answer section. No. No. This is inorganic mercury. Life has organic mercury inside of it. So you can get mercury exposure two ways. From your fillings, or like working in a coal mining plant, I guess, or eating, large predatory fish. So both are not a good idea. So right, this mercury has been sitting here for the whole day. I put it in this morning, and I kind of shake it around a little bit to release some vapor. So if I open this up, all of us will get exposed to a completely harmless mercury vapor. And if I take this and dump it on the floor, Alex, you here? Good. You'll have to call the hotel manager and call in a hazmat team, because if this amount of mercury that's in people's mouths get dumped on this floor, they'll have to call in a hazmat team. But it's perfectly okay in the mouth. Are you ready? Congratulations. We've all now been exposed. Wow, no one's running. Well, it is just water. But I got you to pay attention. It is water. I could drink it. So, for those of you whose heart just skipped a beat, or you got a little trepidation of anxiety inside your chest, or you're really freaking scared, what you felt was your fight or flight response. It's a hormonal surge of adrenaline. And it happens when your life is threatened, when your survival is threatened. So those of you who had a little something going on here, that's what you felt. Your brain was scared for you before you could even think about it. Your mind's telling you this is not good. So what today's about is I want to teach you, the people, because I really feel that change will come from the people, not from my profession. I want you to be safe because I care about people and I care about my patients. And caring is the most important feature of a doctor. So my directive in my practice is caring first. Healing comes from caring. It comes from the heart chakra. If it comes from here, it's corrupted. If it comes from ego, it's corrupted. But if it comes from here, it's going to be good. Because a caring doctor will not do awful things to their patients. Their personal integrity will not allow them. So there's an organization called the IAOMT, and it's made up of lots of dentists for the past 30 years who got sick, basically. We all had the same experience. We got sick. So we're going to talk about the IAOMT Mercury Safe Protocol and some things that I've done in addition to it to, I feel, improve it. So the first rule is protect the patient. And yes, you look like you're geared up, you have all this stuff all over you, but it's all for your protection, and I'm going to break it down for you. So the first is the rubber dam. The rubber dam is a rubber shield that you make a hole in where the tooth comes through, so none of these mercury chips and filings go down your throat. Now, what's important is the rubber dam has to be latex free, because latex allows mercury vapor to easily pass through. So if just because you have a rubber dam on your face, if it's latex rubber dam, it's like having nothing there. You want to cool the drill so that less mercury vapor is emitted into the environment. And you do something called chunking. In other words, you don't just pulverize the whole filling into little pieces or dust. You cut it out in sections. So often, this is what it looks like. It comes out in pieces. And what's good about that is less drilling for the patient. That's always a good thing, right? After the visit, my patients get supplements. I give my patients 3 supplements. They all do the same thing through different mechanisms. They bind any mercury that might have gotten through all our barriers and goes into your gut. So this binds the mercury in your gut. Chlorella, you guys know about chlorella, right? It detoxes heavy metals. I use a detox clay, a bentonite clay that's made for me by Cleansing Concepts. And we use activated charcoal. Be careful with activated charcoal. You need to use it once after the visit, and that's it. It'll bind everything, good and bad. You should not be taking this on a daily basis. It'll rob you of any nutrition you ingest. But for an acute situation, I think activated charcoal is a great idea. The IMT recommends it. I've added the other 2 products myself. Now, there's many ways to detox mercury, and I'm sure these awesome integrative doctors can help you with that. Protect the staff. So we wear industrial grade gas masks with specific mercury filters. And we wear eye protection as well. And that gigantic thing on my face is a miner's loop. They're basically very high magnification glasses. You have to remember, teeth are this big. And if you can't see what you're doing, how can you possibly do good dentistry? We have a full office air filter that ionizes, uses UV and a HEPA filter. Each filter cleans my entire office. I got 1 in each room. And we have a special Mercury Ionizer. It's designed to bind specifically mercury. That's the tacked air model is actually endorsed by the IMT. And in my office, I have a $7,000 mercury. This is a industrial grade mercury detector. That's when the hazmat team, who had I spilled mercury on the ground, would have come in with this device to make sure there's no mercury left. So in my office, I regularly check my air and check the efficacy of my mercury protocol to make sure that my levels are low in my office, there's no exposure, and then we're all safe. Because I don't want to be in the hospital again. And I certainly don't want to send my patients to the hospital either. So this is something that I do just for my own peace of mind. And protect the environment. Because when you drill out these mercury fillings, all that mercury dust that gets sucked up, it goes into the water system. I have a 12-year-old. I actually care about the environment. I want to leave this earth a safer place for my son and for your children and grandchildren. So I care about the environment. Interestingly enough, New York State has a law on the books. Every dental office must have one. There is 0 policing. So if you had an office, you've been practicing for years, are you going to do it? I hope so. But what do you think the reality is? So when I built my office 10 years ago, that got installed immediately. So there you have it. That is the Mercury Safe Protocol. If you have any questions, we'll take those now. All right. You're first. Well, if you, like I said earlier, if you polish those fillings and you rub them with a very fast-moving, spinny device, what do you think is going to happen? You emit high levels of mercury, which are, by the way, completely safe, according to the authorities. Yes? Excuse me? Mercury fillings are the widest used filling material in the world. They are still using it, yes. Oh yeah, there's lots of alternatives. The best one, in my opinion, unfortunately, dentistry is a synthetic reconstruction of teeth. So we have to use synthetic materials. Organic materials are coming, guys. It's really exciting. I can't wait. But for now, I have to use the least toxic tooth-colored materials. So there are composites or white fillings out there that don't have BPA or BSA, okay, which is what I use. And I go a step further. I use materials that actually mimic the physics of the tooth. So nature made the tooth, or God made the tooth. They got it right. Who are we to think we could do better than that? I'm not. So putting whatever into a tooth that doesn't work like the tooth, wouldn't you agree, is a stupid idea? Yet my profession doesn't care. Because I went to my profession, I said, guys, we need to rebuild teeth to match the physics of the tooth. Let's use the tooth as a blueprint. I got laughed at and ridiculed. So I left with my tail between my legs, and now I lecture to you people because you care. Apparently, my profession doesn't care so much. There are less than 300 biomimetically trained dentists in this country. So if you want to have your teeth rebuilt in the likeness of nature, you will choose a biomimetic dentist, or dentist who's trained in mimicking nature, like me, because that's important. Yes, sir. Sure. Yeah, you know what? I hear that a lot from dentists and from people. Yet, for the past almost 20 years, I've used nothing but composite to rebuild those by-the-gum fillings. And I got patients that still see me after 20 years, and they're fine. So, I don't know. What do you think? All I have, by the way, is my reality. This is my opinion. This is what I'm telling you is not the conventional wisdom of my profession. So my reality is they're wrong. Yes? Why don't you do a Google search? The list is enormous. What I had brain fog, I had burning sensations through my body, like weird, like I would feel on fire for no reason. I was fatigued. I couldn't concentrate. It was getting worse. Yes, sir. Okay, very good. So Hal Huggins left us last year, so he's no longer with us. He actually, the IAOMT protocol is based on his work. So the Huggins protocol, and now there's somebody who purchased his company. Now it's her protocol. But really, it's really the IAOMT who's developed this and keeps developing it. I'm sure, I'm not going to call it the Shvartsman protocol because you know what? It's not mine. I learned it from the IAOMT, and I'm going to give them the respect they deserve. There's somebody on this side now. Anyone? All right. Oh, one more. Yes. Oh, yes. Great question. Why do people have severe reactions to mercury toxicity and others don't? Why do people who smoke for their entire lives not get lung cancer, and somebody who smokes, or somebody who works in a bar and never smoked it in life gets lung cancer? Why? Because your diseases occur from something called genetics and epigenetics. Epigenetics is how the environment affects your genes and causes gene expression. You got a bad environment, bad genes get expressed. You have a good environment, good genes get expressed. Environment is about 75% of the puzzle. Your genetics picks up the rest. Yes? No, they don't embrace it at all. I don't believe there's one dental school in this country who doesn't teach mercury as the restorative choice. Oh, yeah, it's perfectly safe. Here, you want to take a breather? Imagine this was full of mercury for real. I'm shocked you guys all sat in your seats. You guys are brave. You were freaking out? Good. Good. I hope it was done safely. Like that? Exactly how I described? That is awesome. I'm so happy. Good. Yes. Oh, congratulations. You're asking me about what NYU is doing about... Listen, I'm not affiliated with any school. But I will tell you something sad about NYU. They changed. There was a short period of time where they stopped using mercury fillings. Guess what happened? It was too expensive, and they wanted a cheaper alternative because they want to provide cheap dentistry. So if you're interested in cheap dental care, well, you know what's going to happen. So yeah, so they went back. It was just too tempting. You know, I was telling somebody earlier, the very first dental organization was called the American Dental Society. And they were made up of dentists who actually, back in the early 1800s, that they saw that mercury is a toxin, and they made all the members sign a document saying they will not use mercury. You know what happened? It was so cheap and easy to use that their membership dropped and defunct, and in its place arose an organization made of dentists who wanted to use mercury in their fillings. That organization is called the American Dental Association, the organization that now writes policy for our dental rules and regulations. So that's the history. What's that saying? If you don't know history, like you're bound to make the same mistakes over and over again. That probably there's a nicer way of saying that, but I don't remember. Yes. Composite is basically, so what's a composite? What does the word composite means? It's when you take two things and you put them together, right? So composite is basically a resin with glass. What the resin is and what the glass is proprietary for every company. There are literally tens of thousands of different dental materials out there. And hopefully you go to a dentist who actually cares about you and is going to look and read those sheets and make sense of it all and choose the materials that are the healthiest. That's what I do. But I'm a nerd and I care about my patients. I don't know. Did you see the video? It happens instantaneously. I don't know. I have no idea. That's a great question. Maybe you can Google that for us and let me know. I have no idea. I don't know how long it takes. I just know it does, and I'm not willing to be exposed to it. Yes. Good question. Are gold fillings safe? Do they have mercury? So if you're asking if gold fillings have mercury, then the answer is no. But there's a whole other aspect to metal fillings that really was not intended to be part of this lecture, but I'll give you a little nugget. Metal is not biocompatible to natural teeth. And I've seen many, many, many teeth crack in half from beautiful gold fillings. Now, gold is a little bit more malleable. It's softer than amalgam, so there's less of that. But ultimately, I've seen gold fillings and gold inlays wreck teeth. By the way, glass is no different. When you take a rigid piece of glass and you shove it into the center of the tooth, which is designed by nature or God to be flexible, and you put a rigid piece of glass down the center, what happens to teeth is they break in half, just like if you have a piece of metal in there. So the right way to restore teeth is to match nature. So the way I build teeth today is I build the dentin out of a material that mimics dentin physics and color, because I like pretty. And then I overlay it with a material that matches the enamel. So for larger restorations, that enamel substitute is glass. And for fillings, I use the most rigid, wear-resistant material that's a composite. It's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it's really, really close. And so when my restorations function in teeth, they behave like the tooth. You don't have one material fighting another material. They work in harmony. That's what we want. We want to work in harmony with nature. Yes. Yes. Well, I have no idea when they come out. When the FDA approves bioengineered teeth, and when the FDA approves bioengineered parts of teeth, I will tell you, I'll be the first in line to get those. Because that's really the future. I mean, listen, in Columbia University, they're growing teeth. They just grew a tooth in a mouse in Japan a few years ago. You know, stem cell therapy is coming. It's here. They are printing organs now. So we, the healthy ones, the ones that be healthy, we're going to live past our hundreds easy. And the thing is, teeth have to last humans longer than they've lasted in any other time in human history. When you're dead by the age of 30 or 40, it didn't matter. But when you live to like 150, which a lot of us will, I know I will, I'm planning on it, start saving. Our teeth have to last us. And so the name of the game is to respect nature first and foremost, and then be very tooth conservative. So in my world, I do everything I can to save every scrap of natural tooth I can, because what I got ain't nature. But I have to fix teeth. That's my job. So I have to do the best with what I got. And what I got is really the best materials available in 2015. We are always changing and improving our techniques and our materials because they're evolving. And if you just keep using the same old stuff from 1980s, well, you know, it won't be the same. Yes, sir. Yes, you know, my practice, I attract people who are very holistic, and those people are, a lot of them, very sick. They have a lot of weird environmental allergies, so they're very sensitive to everything. You know, maybe some of you are that way, and you're sitting here today, and I think the way you can be helped is seeing a really good functional medicine doctor, because they are the ones who can help you with that. So for those patients who are concerned about the biocompatibility to their materials, we do run immunoglobulin biocompatibility tests. I will tell you, there are some really talented practitioners out there in energy medicine who I feel are just as accurate. And I've seen it, like, you know, back to back in my office, no studies, but I've seen, you know, using kinesiology or energetic ways to see if the materials are more compatible. So you can use either way. You know, I don't have the experience in doing that, so I have to use the blood test, which I do. And it served my patients well. All right, so I just want to let you know, if you have any questions, you can go to my website, healthierdentistry.com. I have a box on every page. It says Ask Dr. Shvartsman. If you have a question ever, you can ask a question. I'll get an email, and I'm really good about answering my email. You know, the truth is, I can't treat everyone, and if I could help you in some way by answering questions so you can get help somewhere else, I will do that. Okay? Thank you.